Hello.
How you doing?
We're in Amsterdam. We've got out of America. Got you out of America. It's the second year running you've been at IBC.
I know.
I didn't see you last year.
Wow, why am I so much lower than you? Did you purposely do that?
Would you like a high chair? Can we get a high chair for Steve?
No,
please?
you just
And
did that because
he
you
might
just
drool a bit. You know,
you just did it because you want to have the high ground.
Yes, to be fair, you're slouching as well.
Yeah, well, and you're also like the host. I don't know how it is. I started the whole show, and somehow you became the host all of a sudden. What happened here?
It's just you told me. You just take control. Whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, it's because I'm older and I don't care anymore.
We started the show about 5 years ago. If you don't know. I don't know which camera I'm supposed to be looking at. It is this one.
I think you're supposed to be looking at me.
Maybe adjust the orders. We started 5 years ago. We did it recorded. We used to... the concept of the show is to critique videos which are on the line. Online Vimeo videos, YouTube videos, stuff which people have made. We're not going to review the new blockbuster at the cinema. We wanted to highlight independent short films from, documentaries, fiction. And we stopped about 3 years ago. We did like 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And then we decided to do a live version at NAB. And it was fun. It was only half an hour long. It wasn't long enough. Because once you start showing a clip, that eats into the time that you
they got to watch the clip.
Things. Exactly. Yeah. So it's great. Teradek asked us to do this again, and they gave us twice the amount of time, which is very nice of them. And it means we can show roughly 4 videos or so, and we're going to critique them. You're going to give your opinion, which is basically not going to be your true opinion.
Shit, as you usually say. No way.
It never is.
Okay, you say that, but okay. Well, you just wait and see. I'm going to give that. I'm just going to say it exactly how I feel, nicely.
Yes.
I'm very nice, and you're the mean one.
Because what the difference is to what we did at NAB? Because at NAB we pre-selected the videos.
Yeah, this is bad.
No, because what we did when we did the recorded shows is we watched them cold. We watched them cold. When we watched them recorded, we had not seen them, and that means our reaction is genuine, and that's great. And whereas when we pre-selected them at NAB, it was it was great because we chose them, but we have a large list which we're randomly going to pick.
It's really interesting.
And see how it goes. I mean, to be fair, they're all mine. But
yeah, right. Because yours are all great and mine are all shite,
here's
as
how
you
to
say.
Use a Z Finder. Oh, here's how to use an EVF.
Oh, get out of here.
Here's a fashion video from the 1980s.
You even worked on my last one a little bit. My Light and Shadow.
Oh, yeah. How long ago was that? 2 years ago now?
Screw you. It was a year ago.
No, but we made it 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, but it took a year or so to make.
You need to get your editors working faster.
Oh, come on, man. I had 1 million interviews in it. But anyways, we should move on.
Whatever. We're going to watch the first video, which is called, what did I select? I can't remember. It was Return of the Sun, I think. Let's watch it.
Okay.
Qasinarluni nuisarnera inunnu tamanusunniuttaraamisuurunalim qaamanertunisisaara kaperlammiorluta seqernuinera nuannaarutingisarparpu imaasuorlimattu payaapaasillugu ila inuuni aamiingersaqqippu taarsiorsinnarlut qaamani takku Parussuanga upiuqurimattu masiorna 2002 mingaanniuatas maluniarpara sarfa eqqartornerartaannakanerlunnu angunnissaa taamanikkullisiku issutsikkiartorunnaarluni saaliartulereertutas assortoraluarakku taamaattuqarsinnaanissaa issittaqingattam intassilumo ассерсуутингиссагаанни укиорманнат таамаассагуни qaammat наамматсиннарлугу қимуссимиа алисарпуга сиккорлуннаа писсутингалугу тавалу укиусиннаа уятсиами алисарлу сунгорниссаа эққаасиннаангилаана мини алиагиссаммассу кисиани атуарсиннаагуник атуассаппут атуарнисаперуник алисартунгорниартааяқассаппу сарнаатингиваат инуяатсими кут тавалу сидақанерсунни иккалуараангат иноофифисэрмик тоқартуаанна
It's a very strong first one to open with. I'm always amazed when I watch something like this how much you can pack into 3.5 minutes.
I didn't hear that. What?
I'm always amazed when you see something of this length, 3.5 minutes, how much you can pack into that. I mean, it's visually obviously stunning.
Stunning.
Absolutely stunning. I want to get on a plane to go there right now.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do anything that good, but I mean, it was stellar.
No, but I could try and do a crappy copy of it.
Yeah, you sure could.
Yeah.
But, well, here's my take on it. I mean, it was stellar. He did one thing that I love is that he kept the words on there long enough for me to read. I hate when they're going so fast. Then I can't look at the pictures.
Well, it does help that they were talking very slowly. If you have a motor mouth, then it's like, oh my God, I can't keep up.
Well, then I'm not seeing the pictures.
Exactly.
It really disturbs me. Okay, if I'm going to be critical at all, I mean, it was beautiful. It was stout. You know, the sound, the music, the framing, everything was just fantastic. But if I was to offer any criticism at all, I would say it would be nice to have told the story more through a particular individual. Now, I mean, I guess he's the individual who's telling us the story, but I would have loved to have seen him and maybe had like him talk to the camera. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but in a way that you do sometimes, where you actually have your interviewees talking directly to the camera.
As good a compliment as I'm going to get. This entire,
you know me, I'm an off-axis guy.
I mean, your light and shadow was practically filming back to people's heads.
I know,
so off-axis.
but it was so interesting, though.
It's interesting, yeah. I mean, as long as you've got a nice, strong profile, it works. Yeah,
but well, I mean, you know, you go with the Errol Morris style more, where people are talking directly to the camera, which is it's harder to do. I mean, how you get people to do that is rough, because unless you use that dealy-do where your image is on the screen.
Well, I have the iDirect.
Oh, you do have that?
I have the iDirect. Yeah, not the Errol Morris one. Mine is via. It's a system I've used for about 3 years actually, and it's like an autocue.
We should probably tell people what this is.
Basically, it's a doohickey. You use the word doohickey?
Doohickey, yeah.
I'm using an American term, or gizmo, or gadget. It's basically it goes on the front of your camera, and it's got a mirror, and you can go either to the operator side or the dumb side, and basically the mirror reflects you, and so when they look in the camera, they can see you, and then you look into the glass, you can see them. So you have eye contact. Eye contact is essential, and it's very difficult. I've done a whole feature doc which was not using that. It was before I got one, and it took about 10-15 minutes before the interviewees were relaxed enough to actually do that, because it's very difficult, and you have to make sure you cannot be an eye line at all, because they're always going to look off.
Errol Morris is in a box. I've seen it. He's literally standing in a kind of a box, and on Fog of War at times you actually hear him yelling because he's inside that box. But all right, so let's clarify a few things for people that don't know. When you refer to the dumb side of the camera, you're not being insulting. the operator side is the one side, and the dumb side is the other, the assistant side, we'll call it, which is the right side. If you're
That's right. So the reason why you can flip it around is so if you're operating the camera, generally, with most cameras, it depends on the camera, but generally the viewfinder slash LCD is on the left-hand side of the camera, which is operator side. But if you're lucky enough to have a cameraman and you're just in the interview, then you'd flip it round and have it on the dumb side.
Yeah.
So that's why you have that.
And the dumb side, some people call it the assistant side, is usually if you have a proper team, you have your follow focus and your first and seconds are all over there. Okay, enough of that.
I don't name any of that. Most of the time it's lucky to have myself. But okay, audio was lovely. I mean, that's key. The sound effects was,
sound design.
Sound was clean and clear.
I want
to
describe some of these things, terms that we're using. We refer to sound design as being, the sound effects, the mix, the music, the voice, all of that is your sort of sound design, and it's very important.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you and I are both in sync with this, that if the video's crap and the sound design is amazing, I might actually love it, because sound is half of the picture, sometimes even more important than video. And a great sound design where you have all these wonderful little sounds is just so fantastic. You remember that crazy video that Ronan showed us that one time of, he made that whole World War II thing?
Oh, yeah.
All the little clicks and knobs and everything, the Foley work he did was amazing.
I think one of the most fun things you can have in filmmaking is being a Foley artist.
Yeah.
It's just,
Let's describe what Foley is.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, people might not know.
All right, Foley artist is somebody who makes up the sound, because basically when you're recording audio mostly this is about fiction work. Most of the audio is done in post, and so you need to have sound of footsteps on gravel. So to get them clean, you'll basically have gravel in your Foley studio, and then you'll record your footsteps.
I mean, don't say that. I mean, in documentaries, like in the one you were talking about that I did, there were lots of things that we showed in B-roll that we added Foley for, that we only had the video.
The thing is, for me, I love, the sound is so important, and I will try as much as I can to get it on location. But so much of the time I'm operating on my own, and I'm lucky to get really good quality dialogue. So the sound effects, the actual audio effects, I just have to, if I'm lucky enough to edit it, or unlucky depending on how you want to term it, I will make sure that I will get these clean separately, or I do them in post. Yeah. I mean, there's great websites if you. I did a music video last year, in the beginning of last year, and I actually put in sound effects, which is quite rare for a music video, but it worked for what it was. And most of them I got off on freesound.org. And it's a great website. You type in, come up with things. And I spent ages trying to get sound effects of a bed sheet being pulled off a bed. And I just couldn't find. I was looking and looking and looking. Then I was sat at home. I just had this epiphany.
Just get a mic and do it.
Exactly. I went, why don't I just go upstairs with my recorder and just pull my bed sheet off?
Well, it's easy now. I mean, when I used to do production, in the grand
60s,
old
50s, 40s.
in the grand old days, you had to get a Nagra, and it was a big deal. You needed, now you get one of these Zoom units. There's no excuse for not having killer audio.
It's even easier than that. Rode have their little mic attachments to go on your iPhone.
Okay.
So you've always got good quality.
But it's so important. I'm begging people, things like little clicks and knobs, and you did a video one time that is the ultimate sound design. I can't believe I'm complimenting you again. 2
in one show?
I know. The one where you had like this coffee, and I remember it, that's even crazier. You had like a coffee pot, and it was extreme close-ups of coffee, and it was part of a music video.
No, I think this was a documentary edit that never got finished.
No, it was a music video. You had a guy playing the guitar sitting on a sofa, and you had all these extreme close-ups.
That was a documentary.
You had fabulous folio, every click and knob, but you probably recorded it.
That was then and there.
Yeah, I know. I knew you did. But still, we're going to call that Foley because you did get the great sound.
It was essential, and I bring up that because it's this, especially opening, because I use this as an example when I do workshops. This is an example of how important audio is. And because it's close-ups, you are able to
show them that clip.
I show them the opening sequence where it is clicks and coffee and pouring and sound, and it is real because the images and the sound are so important because it's all about music and sound and everything, and it ties in. So, it is a constant battle when you're always being hired. Is you're quoting for a job, and you put in the sound recordist, and they're like, we need you to trim the budget. Can you lose sound recorders? And I would rather cut back on everything else.
I hear you.
But it is a battle, especially, I mean, I'm doing a big series right now, traveling all over the place, and I just want a sound recorder so badly. We can't. There's no budget for it, and it is a struggle for sure, and it's a real shame.
That's unbearable. And actually, the interesting thing is when I thought about that video, I thought about the audio, about how fabulous the audio was, and it's just. We've said this a million times before. When you go to let's say you're an indie filmmaker, I can tolerate a bad picture. You know, we've talked about this. You know, it may be your creative choice to have a bad picture. I don't want to say bad, but bad is many things. It could be grainy, it could be noisy, it could be a lot of things. It could be poorly lit, and it may be your theme. But nobody can handle overdriven audio. You have to walk out. It's unbearable and it's unwatchable.
Yeah, sound is so important. But I think we need to watch another clip. I mean, that was lovely. I mean, check this video out. The link will be.
It was beautiful, but again, in a narrative piece, a first person seeing something through somebody's eyes adds it personalizes the piece. It's
the only way I find you can tell a unique story these days. I mean, there are stories out there which are unique, but to make them really unique, it's always going to be single. It's going to be the person. A person will make something unique, and that's it. And
their point of view.
You need to.
Third compliment, and I can't believe I'm doing this.
You've got to connect, haven't you?
You do that. Well, I tend to do it too. I try to go through a person as well. Well, I go through a lot of people because I'm doing a wider documentary. Mine are always about a ton of people and whatnot, but you do tend to, I can't believe I'm saying this.
4.
3. Just
okay.
3.
That's fine.
You do tend to always tell your story through a first person, and that is what makes them personal and entertaining.
I think it's important. We're going to
watch, kind of a 4, but go on.
I think we're going to watch California next, which is very different.
So we have no idea what we're going to see.
I have a list here, and I'm going to go with this because it's very, very different. And I think we should, let's watch this.
Is it cute? Is it ready to go?
It's ready to go.
Let her rip.
Amazing amount of work that's gone into that. How do you feel about time-lapse videos?
Well, I mean, to me, that's just a demo reel. You know, I mean, unless he's building that for stock footage.
Well, he's got stock representation at the end there, and that's going to sell.
Oh, yeah, he'll sell. And I mean, stellar. I mean, the guy's work is amazing, but I mean, it's, I wish we had, I would have loved to have pre-screened, because it's basically a demo reel, and it's fabulous, but I can't really make any comments except that his work is fabulous.
It's the amount, I mean, I do a little bit of time-lapse, but I don't have the patience to do something like that. Something like that requires an immense amount of time and dedication. But the thing is, time-lapse is, if you're looking into, you want to sell stock footage, if you're ever interested in that, time-lapse is actually the thing that sells the most, because it takes too long to get for most crews. You can't hire somebody generally to do time-lapse, because it takes, you can't pay them that much. So, I wanted to get a time-lapse shot and say, okay, it's going to take 3 days. That'll be,
No, I mean, and I think it's good that we talk about making money, because it's always something that is sort of the evil thing in this industry, But realistically, I give this guy credit, because, if you can't make money, you're going to have to get a real job. If you get a real job, you're not going to have time to do this stuff, and then you're out of the industry. And one report I saw said that of the 100% graduates of Columbia Film School, only 5% end up in the film industry after 5 years. Yeah. Which is kind of a shame. It's like you studied film and now you're not doing it.
But I think a lot of that might be down to the, what they want to do something when they leave, and they get disenchanted with it and disheartened that they're not making these big films, and they really realise that they have to make corporates, they have to shoot weddings, and they don't want to do that, and that's the reality. And I had this when I talked at a film school in London last year, to the final year. It was actually a film school that I couldn't get into, which was ironic. 25 years later or so, I went in there and gave a lecture to them about what's to look forward to. Yeah. They all want to shoot Hollywood movies. Yeah. And I asked how many want to shoot weddings, and none of them put their hands up.
It's the greatest training ground you can possibly get. We've talked about
it. News, and that's what I come from, the news background. And there's two, if I work with somebody who's worked in weddings or news, I know that I'm going to get fast, efficient workers.
Absolutely. It's the one-take environment. I've shot about 200 weddings in my life. I started off doing that in 1979. And when it was on 3/4 inch, it was pretty brutal. By myself, carrying a deck and doing all,
on
tapes
own.
On my own, man.
3/4 inch.
Yeah, I was 19, on my own. So, and actually I was doing these weddings and people didn't even own video recorders. They were doing it on the idea that they were going to be getting a video recorder.
Yes.
But anyways, weddings are a fabulous training ground, because you learn this, what like Joe Simon calls a one-take environment. You've got no recourse, man. It has got to be perfect, and you got a bride that'll kill you.
Yeah, they're probably the worst clients, the worst clients, and the most terrifying shooting situations.
This is the happiest day of my life.
The worst lighting situations.
Yep.
Worst lighting situations. The worst audio situations. So you can't put a mic on the bride. No.
Yeah.
All right. So all those things are an absolute nightmare.
Well, and go back to when I was doing it, when a camera was completely on light sensitive. Yeah. Now, at least you can crank the ISO up to whatever you want. But the point is that you need to practice. You need training ground. A lot of young kids, they want to immediately do indie films and all this kind of stuff, and that's great, and many of them.
That's great, but who's going to pay the bills?
Well, many of them, I've on a show that I did a while ago, I had asked kids if they would, and I refer to anybody under 25 as a kid, sorry, but I had asked them if.
So I'm not a kid.
Would you rather? No, you're not.
Damn it.
If you'd rather, they had said they would rather do one short a year and work at Starbucks versus working in corporate and doing one short a year.
That's so sad.
So sad, because the thing is that every project you do, you learn.
Exactly, and also you can literally make this corporate the best thing you can. And, and it's like, that's it. You can bring that quality and that production value into things which, and that's what I find so frustrating.
Right?
Yeah, I do all this sort of stuff. I love doing it.
I mean, I spent 20 years in corporate video with Jens. I mean, we just shot something with Rodney, last summer, and we all sat down afterwards and said, okay, what did we learn?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in the business for God knows how long, and he was like, oh my God, I learned this, and this. And we were talking about how on every single project, I've been in this industry for 31 years, you've been in for 41 years.
And look how good I look for 41. Hang on a minute, I started when I was 2.
Yeah. I think so. Did
I was like the Mozart.
I
wasn't
bet you had
know?
a camera when you were 2. So, anyways, but the point is that I learn every single project we do. We learn something, and we usually sit back and try to say, "What did we learn?"
That's exactly the right attitude, and I preach it all the time. Anybody who says I know it all,
come on.
Like you never stop learning. I'm learning, and I make mistakes on everything that I make, and I learn from them. I'm learning.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful, and I learn from people I work with. That's what's great, and that's why I love working with other cameramen. I love working with other directors. I'm always learning stuff, and I love that. And I think it's the moment you think you know it all is the moment you should like go and work in Starbucks, perhaps, because that's where you'd be better off.
My advice would be is that wouldn't you rather make mistakes on a corporate film, and then when you do your indie film, you've learned from that, and hopefully the goal here is what I always tell my crew is, can we please just make a new mistake? I never fault anybody for making a mistake. I will fault them I'll kill them if they make the same mistake again.
That's the key thing about mistakes. As long as we're human, I'll forgive that mistake once, but then you do it straight away afterwards. Hang on, didn't you just learn from that?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's watch.
But that's
the next
great.
clip.
So that was wonderful to see time lapse. But one thing about watching time lapse, I find it very difficult watching it on a laptop. Somebody sends me a link of time lapse film, and I watch it, and honestly, it's hard to watch. But with Vimeo, I always use the watch later queue and put it onto my TV. It has a smart TV with Vimeo app in it, and you sit back on the sofa and you watch it on a big TV, and suddenly it's lovely. It's the same with everything, to be honest with you.
But I am going to give him one critique, actually.
Yeah.
It used to be you could make a 5-minute demo reel.
Yes.
Nowadays, you can't make a 5-minute demo reel. That piece should have been half that length, and he should have created 2 demo reels if he wanted to, because we started talking a little bit, and that tells me that was too long.
But if he's doing it as something to sell, he has basically 5 minutes or whatever it was of shots that people were looking through it, and they may well spoke because I'm looking for nighttime shots of LA, and they're going through it.
Yeah, but typically when you go to stock, that stuff's all cataloged and you search it. This was a demo reel. My advice, shorten that reel, because even though your footage is ungodly beautiful, there is a limit to how much I can take without a story.
But you will. The stuff that I've sold the most is easily been time lapse, and these are quite long as well. And it is, they'll see it from Vimeo, not from stock. They'll come across it. We've sent this link, and we saw this shot in there, and that's the thing. If you made it 5 minutes long, it's there for them to see. So there's definitely a double-edged sword. We're going to watch something else. Let's pick something else. How about The Coffin Maker? That sounds cheery, doesn't it?
Wait, we've seen this coffin maker, haven't we?
Coffin Maker?
Or wait, what was remember that? You remember there was a guy that made
guitars?
Oh, that was a guitar maker.
Guitars,
okay.
Larson, NAB.
Right.
We'll watch Coffin Maker. The Coffin Maker.
That sounds great.
The Coffin Maker. It sounds like something.
Now this better be great, because you have a very interesting subject here, and it better go through an individual person, man. I want to see.
You want to see dead people? I want to see dead people.
Birth to death, man, and you're in that box.
As soon as it's Coffin Maker.
Okay.
Have a look at that.
Here we go.
The first coffin I ever built was for my child when my wife had a miscarriage. It took me a while to figure out how to make the panels wide and make them pretty. It's such a personal thing to have your hands on there and to really be working with it. Coffin making seems to have really begun with furniture makers. Metal is a pretty recent innovation, and apparently now we use enough metal every year in our coffins to rebuild the Golden Gate Bridge buried in the ground. To build an entire casket takes me about 25 hours. Mostly what I do is sand. I feel like I sand and I sand and I sand. I never feel like it's finished. But then I guess that's kind of a fit thing, because that's probably how we feel at the end of our lives too. I think one of the most important aspects of the coffin is that it can be carried. And I think we're meant to carry each other. And I think carrying someone you love and committing them is very important for us. And when we deal with death, we want to know that we have played a part and that we have shouldered our burden. So if we make it too convenient, then we're depriving ourselves of a chance to get stronger so that we can carry on. When I'm out here by myself early in the morning or in the middle of the night or something like that, I can get a sense of how work is love made visible. You know, the Benedictine monks say, work and pray. And I guess those things kind of bleed together for me. So it's not that I have some words in my head. It's more just a state of love and becoming a small part of a bigger picture that I don't fully understand. I'm building something for someone that people tend to think is a destination. People think that the grave is the end. And I'm trying to illuminate that, no, it's a doorway.
Do you want to be buried or burnt?
Oh, God.
Or put into space or buried, or maybe at sea?
I don't know. I think I put something in my will, but I think I want to go into a mausoleum.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like it. It's a little cleaner.
I just want to be scattered in. I want to be scattered in. I don't know.
I want to talk about this though. You want me to go first?
Yeah,
you
I've got some strong thoughts on that.
You want to bury my? Let me bury myself.
Oh, I see what you did there. That's really clever.
I really, really, really like that. There's so many. When people show me something, there's so many interesting ways you can go. You can go. Now he chose to go with his story. Yeah. Which I thought was great. I wasn't thinking he was going to do that. I thought he was going to go more from, like, actually interview someone and talk about how maybe that they had pre-picked a coffin. That would have been an interesting route too. But what he did was he told sort of how he put himself in the person's life cycle. And I thought that was great. I mean, the shots were obviously beautiful. His narration was really closely mic'd. I love that. And I thought it was short. The length was right. Everything was right. And I really liked it.
What about the opening shot?
Yeah, I don't know what that.
Because you have this.
I mean, it was the life and death.
It was a very generic sort of time-lapse-y shot, and I just felt that it's such a strong visual thing. It is about grabbing somebody's attention. And
actually, now that you mention, I don't like that. What I would have rather seen I'm a bookender.
Yes.
I would have rather seen some gorgeous hands on carrying a coffin, because at the end he talks about how carrying somebody is almost like caring for them.
Yeah.
That would have made me think, oh wow, at the beginning that's why he put. I love when I watch something and all of a sudden you go, oh. It's like symbolism, like F. Scott Fitzgerald or something like that. You're like, that's why he did that at the beginning. That thing didn't do anything to the story.
For a bookend, for me, I mean, I can imagine having a shot from perhaps inside, and then the same framing of him standing, and then the last shot being, without being too obvious, but it's always, is it going on there? Identical framing, so you can open and close with the same shot. But
you mean the lid coming to blackness?
The very end, yeah. I mean, maybe too cliche. I don't know. But
well, it's not cliched. It's a little spooky.
It is. I mean, it's quite. I would say it's a little bit. It's quite religious in his giving his views about spirituality and stuff like that.
But it wasn't heavy-handed.
No, it wasn't heavy-handed.
It was
at all.
nice.
I'd like to have known. I mean, it's a funny old thing to be doing. You're making something which is basically, as soon as it's done, it's going in the ground and that's it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that when he was doing that.
I'd like to know his thoughts about that. His work is going to be buried. It'd be an interesting thing, as you know.
He did say his thoughts. He said that it's important that I was thinking about. He talked about that, and I was thinking about that. It's like, wow, I'm making this beautiful thing, and like you said, it's going in the ground.
Going in the ground. Yes.
I know, but I mean, he's an interesting guy. This is something that I think we should talk about. When you pick a subject to do a documentary on, I'm looking to do a real big 2-year type commitment documentary right now. So I've got all these people that are fielding me ideas and everything, and I'm like, they're like, they bring me a guy, they're like, you should do it on the environment. I'm like, nah, I need a personal story, So do the environment via a personal story, which could have been like the one that we saw on the ice scenario. It's, I get it, but...
You want to spend 2 years in Greenland?
No, it's not my thing. I want to do something that's more inspirational, motivational.
Yeah.
I want to see some tears. But anyways, what was I getting at?
Obviously, the thing is, it's called the Coffin Maker. It's literally what it is, and will it make people watch it? That's the thing, isn't it? It's the name of it will make people, but it literally tells you what it is, and it does tell you about somebody who makes coffins.
Oh, I know where I was.
Which is not the most obvious career path to go down to if you're into carpentry.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to make, sort of like bookcases and tables.
But the person, when you're deciding on doing a documentary, you have to really decide two things. Is this story interesting enough? Lots of times people will say.
I know what makes something interesting.
I go with my general rule. A movie is about an extraordinary time in people's lives, not an ordinary time. I say this all the time. So I need to have a person that's had an extraordinary time.
Sure.
There was a story that somebody. I just did a documentary that I bowed out of. I didn't release it because it was just too depressing. So my co-producer put it out, but it was about a boy that had cancer, and it was just horrible. But the point is that the story has to be interesting. If it's just a person that has had something happen, and he hasn't learned from it, resolved from it, transformed from it. To me, a docu's the same as a feature. The character has to have had a journey. If he doesn't have a journey, you don't have a story.
I personally believe that everybody has, anybody you meet will have a story. They may not realize they have that story, but you find it. And my barometer is very simple. I know when something is interesting. I know something that will be good to tell is if I'm interested. If I'm interested, that's my first. If you are making something you don't care about, you don't think it's a good story, then why are you bothering? But people do it, and that's it. And the thing is, there's always, there's.
Well, but there's one point to it. You have to decide. If you're thinking you're doing a feature-length documentary, that person's got to have a serious story.
We're talking something a little bit more. I don't think I could watch. Unless he's got something more to him, I don't think I could watch him talking about.
Your stories tend to be short form, so you're great. Like the one you did. Oh my God, number 5. The one you did on the projector.
Oh yes.
I liked that but it wasn't a big story, man. You kept it short. He didn't have a tale to tell. He had a small tale to tell.
I went in though that nothing was set up. It's called Portrait of Projectionist, and I didn't know. I was in Cape Town, and I doing a workshop there, and I wanted to film a doc in each place that I did, and I got to 2:00 in the afternoon. I hadn't got anything set up. Nothing. Ideas were being thrown at me, and I'm meh. That's it. So it's like the newspaper. If you read the headline and you don't read the rest of it, it's not a good story. So I kept on going, and then somebody told me there was actually a guy who wanted to come out and be with us when we filmed, and we were picking him up at a theatre, and I went, oh, is it like a movie theatre? And he went, no, it's like a real theatre. I said, they just had this moment. Do they have like a real film projection movie theatre still? Because they're almost all gone everywhere else. And he went, yeah, it's around the corner.
Not when you did it. That was a while ago.
It was almost 2 years ago.
You'd be surprised how many are still running films.
Not in London, there aren't. But the thing is, I was going to do something on the whole place. I was going to film, the concession stand and the tickets and interview the manager. But the first thing I did was I interviewed the projectionist. And normally, projectionists aren't very good at talking. They live in dark areas. They're like little hermits. And as soon as I started talking to him, before I rolled the camera, I knew, okay, the rest of it's, I'm not going to bother. You are my story. He was so good. He basically encapsulates
you did that, man. I mean, if you would have started gone and candy and all this other stuff, you wouldn't have had it. That's the other thing. Define your story so with a razor.
Be prepared to change your ideas when you're there. That's
documentary filmmaking.
Yeah.
The whole point is, if you go in and you know exactly what your story is, you're making a propaganda film. You're Michael Moore.
I want to. When I'm making something, I am the viewer. I am learning as I'm making it.
Exactly.
That's the way it should always be.
That's the definition of a documentary film.
I never want to make a film about something I already know about. What's the point? For me, I want to learn. And also I feel that you're better off, you need to put yourself as the viewer, because if you're making something that you already know about, you can also make assumptions, which is dangerous because you already know about it. So it's not my sort of thing at all. But
that's the problem of this whole big in the documentary field that we're in. Yeah. There's this constant battle of if I tell the story through my point of view, what am I interjecting? In other words, the details that I pick and the direction I changes the whole way that the people view this particular person.
Yeah.
So, again, you don't want to make a propaganda film, which is, I know what I'm telling the healthcare story, or I'm telling Bowling for Columbine. I mean, you know what the thing's going to be about. That's not a documentary. But on the other side of the coin, if I decide to tell, a story from the coffin maker's point of view, or if I told the story from a dying man's point of view, you got two totally different stories there.
It's pretty tricky to make a long-form documentary that doesn't have any propaganda in it whatsoever.
That's right.
It's very, very difficult because even the way you edit it, it's so...
No, but I'm watching your documentary through your eyes, through what you've decided that you want me to see.
Exactly. But I for my own stuff, my personal stuff, not my paid work, I want to make things which I don't know about, and especially stuff that I don't get. That's the key thing. Like I did something about a guy who loves guns. I don't get it, so explain to me why you like guns. And it's fascinating. I made no judgment about it. I just made the film and went, and I had some nutcases going on about it, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have made this." I'm like, why?
That's ridiculous. I'm so sick of that crap.
Look, we're filmmakers. It's important to hear what people's opinions are.
We need to say this straight out, and because this happens on the web, I know you get really upset when people attack you on the web. The point is, you're a filmmaker. Your job is to tell a story. I've had this so many times. People say, "So do you believe in that?" I'm like, it has nothing to do with what I believe in. I can present a story about rape, but I don't believe in that. It's horrible and horrific, but it doesn't mean I can't tell a story about it.
Yeah.
It's insane. Another clip.
We're going to squeeze one more in, and it's very different. It's called Girl Parts. Do you like the title of that one?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
We've gone from the coffin maker to Girl Parts.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
All the dirty boys want you. They want it. They want it so bad. And they are so dirty.
Hey, what's up?
Your dad.
So, you want to bump some volleyball after class?
I've got a date with Jack Jenkins tonight.
I'd totally taco that.
You'd taco anything.
As if.
Whatever.
I have plans anyway.
Yeah, stabbing the raccoon.
Shut up.
Don't les out. I'm just messing with you. I'm out of here.
This isn't Applebee's.
If you weren't gonna put out tonight, why'd you wear that sexy outfit?
I'm sorry.
You let me go all the way until my love for you is about to explode, and then you say not tonight? You're gonna give me cooter cramps.
There's no such thing as cooter cramps. That's an urban legend.
Yeah, try telling that to Milady.
I bet you even have a name for it.
Little Debbie. You wanna know why?
You are so typical. I thought you were different, but you're not. You're just like all the other girls.
I can assure you, there is nothing typical here. I've been in the locker room after cheerleading practice.
My mom warned me about girls. She said they all make boys think they like them so they can get in their pants, and then they dump them.
What would she know?
She used to be one. And my dad said that if he hadn't waited to put out, she would have never married him, and I wouldn't be here right now.
Well, thank the old chain and balls then, because I'm really glad you're here right now, baby.
He also said no one would buy the whole cow if they could get the hot dog for free.
Do you really want to start college as a virgin?
Nothing wrong with being a virgin.
Yeah, if you're Jesus' dad.
I'm not going to college to study sex. I'm going to college to study learning.
With pecs like those? The only thing you need to learn is how to say I do.
You think I have nice pecs?
Little Debbie needs a snack.
I said no!
What are you, like, gay or something? Because that would be totally hot.
Oh.
Would it help if we got drunk?
Hey,
What's up, Labe?
what's up? So, did you, get some last night?
They don't call him Easy Jack for nothing.
Yeah. Who calls him Easy Jack?
Jesus Christy, you're such a total les. I'm just kidding.
Ass rape that man with a mixer, and when you're done, take your Glock and fix him. Cut off his head and shove it in the oven, and when you're done, ass rape his brother. Ass rape, ass rape, ass rape, ass rape.
Steve, I really hope that last shot was Foley. Do you think it was hope it was Foley? It wasn't.
It was so obviously overdone. All
God,
right,
I
who's
hope it was
going
Foley.
first?
It was very different from the others. But it was very funny.
Was that a Russ Meyer film? I feel like it was like a sexploitation.
It was
from,
very funny.
You know, they just needed the big boobs and everything. And
nice role reversal, obviously.
oh boy,
it was well done. It was,
I don't know.
It was funny. It was, I don't think it could have sustained much longer.
I
we
mean,
really like that.
I laughed.
Are we really like that, Steve?
Yeah. Oh,
Are
worse.
we?
Way worse.
We're way worse than that, are we?
Okay, here's my thing. We were laughing out loud. There were like it was like a Saturday Night Live skit. There were like 3 funny bits, but there was no story. I don't really know what the story was. What was it?
It was literally just showing what it would be like if the roles were reversed. But they screwed up with one major thing in that. Major screw up. When you go and have a slash, toilet, whatever you want to call it, a pee, you do not talk to any other guy there.
Well, you're usually staring at the wall.
You go in there, you get it done, and you get out of there. You don't stand there
They're girls,
with your hand
it's
on
different.
it. Chat. No, but they're supposed to be guys. That's the point. Is role reversal. This is one bit that didn't get quite right. Is we do not talk. The only time you ever talk is when you're completely,
that doesn't bother me. That doesn't,
drunk.
actually, I think that part was funny.
Do you talk to people in the toilet? That's weird. If I'm in a toilet and I'm trying to get and you start talking to me, I'm going to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Whether I finished or not, I'm out of there.
No, but that was
weird.
the funny part. That it was role reversal, but they still were girls.
They kept one bit. Well,
but I don't. I mean, here's what bothers me. If I would have seen that script, and here's an issue I have with, again, almost everything I see. You can't just write something. Writing is a complex art, man. If you do, okay, let's say you do. I'm a director, I'm going to write something. Please drop that by some sort of a script doctor or a friend or somebody who will critically, like I know that if I drop something by you or you've dropped things by me before and I give you critical advice, and that's great, before you release it.
Wouldn't it be nice if you actually had established the guy character in early on, and the fact that she they talked about him, but it'd be nice to establish a sort of it's a very short film, only 5 minutes, but it's.
I don't care. We've talked about 5 minutes. It's a ton of time.
Yeah, you could easily. I think it would have been nice to have made it a much more of a. Less of a gimmick, but more of a story. You're right. And,
I don't know.
It was entertaining. I enjoyed it though. It made us laugh in here.
It was. Yeah, we were laughing, but the point is that. It would have been even better had you had a story to it. It looked nice. The sound was a little too canned. You got to watch out.
How do you feel about girls acting like guys? You find that attractive?
I thought it was. The idea is cute. Again, it's like a Saturday Night Live skit. Now you got to take it to the next level. You got to make it something that that can sustain a viewing. We
haven't got long. It's important. I think what I love about this show is we are at IBC, and at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. You have all this stuff around, but we are here about watching stuff, content, and I think that's the key thing. And I think it's often forgotten about at shows like this. Is the reason we're all here is to actually make documentaries,
I hear you, man.
And everything. And I think that's...
and I'm so sick of that out there because there's people that are coming to our stand.
God, I hate that people come to your stand.
And
how dare they?
nitpicking about, this thing or that camera doesn't do this or this doesn't do that. And when you look at this, it's completely irrelevant.
It doesn't matter, not in the slightest.
We didn't talk about one. Thank God we didn't say one thing.
I don't know what any of these shots, and I don't care.
We didn't talk about what camera was shot on with this or that. It's just, is it good is what it gets down to.
And that's important. I'm pretty... last time I was at my parents watching something, my mum didn't ask what camera that film was shot on. She didn't. I'm telling you, I was weird. I said, Mum, did anyone discuss what camera that was shot on? That was clearly an Alexa. And she went, oh, I thought that was an Epic. Didn't happen.
Yeah, and I was asking you, is that a motion control shot? Is that a helicopter? I don't know, and frankly, it didn't matter anyways.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Well, join us the same time tomorrow, and we'll do more, and it's been fun. It's been good to get back to this.
I like it live. It's kind of fun.
It's much more fun, isn't it? Yeah. No editing as well.
That's good. God. Well, I'm going to be going live, man. I told you. We're going to... tell them that we're going to be continuing the show.
We're going to carry on the show because it's been such a huge success. We've had the recordings of the last one that had 65 billion views.
Yes.
And so we're going to be hopefully the same from this as well.
And show them your phone how many emails you have.
Oh, don't worry about that, yeah.
All these people that were writing you saying, why don't we continue our shows? Actually,
we are going to continue. It's going to be live. The thing is, he's in Chicago and he rarely leaves the USA because he's American. I can't believe we got him into Europe. It's amazing. But I'm always all over the place. So coming from Chicago, which is where you'll always be, for me in some hotel room, God knows where.
Skyped in.
If the internet works well enough. But in the meantime, tomorrow, 4 o'clock, that's European time, Central European time. We call it that? I don't know.
Yeah, before lunch.
Basically, if you can bother getting up in time if you're in America, especially if you're in the Pacific.
No, it's perfect. 10, 11 o'clock, something like that. Wait, what is that?
Not in the West Coast. They're barely getting up.
Wow. I don't think West Coast. Right.
Yeah, of course you don't think about that. All it matters is it's 1 hour ahead of English time, and that's what matters.
That's what matters.
There we go. Thank you very much. See you next time.